Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Eastern Condors, a Hong Kong action flick from 1987 that was directed by Sammo Hung. He also stars in the film, alongside a loaded cast of recognizable action stars that include Yuen Biao, Joyce Godenzi, Lam Ching-ying, Yuen Woo-ping, Yuen Wah, Yasuaki Kurata, Wei and Billy Chow. So this is loaded. So drawing inspiration from Hollywood war films like The Dirty Dozen, this follows a ragtag band of prisoners dropped into Vietnam on a secret suicide mission to prevent a cache of weapons from falling into the hands of the Viet Cong, who are more than ready for a fight. Propelled by a dynamic ensemble cast that includes the ever-charismatic Yuen Biao as a black market trader and a superhuman Yuen Wah as a giggling martial arts monster, this rip-roaring spectacle offers a nonstop barrage of turbocharged set pieces. Well, at least that's what the Blu Ray marketing says. The plot, which we'll start with here, I mean, this is something we've obviously seen before. Really not that important at the end of the day, the story of this one. I mean, there are a few little fun moments that we get, like the American flag near the beginning that cannot be raised to the top of the pole, but, one of these characters, rectifies the situation because the foreigners are too dumb to figure it out. They actually do say this. It's pretty funny. It's good stuff. But none of these characters are complex or have much depth. You know what I mean? Which makes the death scenes kind of ridiculous. That's probably my biggest problem with the movie, is that some of the death scenes in this go for like a melodramatic tragedy vibe. And we get this like multiple times with characters that really just aren't developed that well. So after receiving like a deadly injury, we're treated to some drawn out death scenes and speeches that are not especially effective at eliciting emotion. And actually, my least favorite character in the movie is this dude. His name was Stuttering Kung. And, I mean, it's near the beginning of the movie, folks. But, when he bites the dust, it's like the most ridiculous reason someone could ever bite the dust in an action movie. It's just absurd. But, I don't know. I was kind of annoyed with that scene, but whatever. Not that big of a deal. Thankfully, I'm happy to report that the Blu Ray description is accurately marketed, because the brisk pace, plentiful action, and bloody violence will hold your attention. All right, that's a saving grace in this film, which, it's why we watch these movies anyway. First action scene is with the ladies, actually. They're already in Vietnam. They're like this detached group of like rebels, and they're the primary contacts for our main protagonist coming in. And Joyce Godenzi and two of her comrades do a sneak attack against some dudes who are partying near a campfire. They're not doing a great job of keeping lookout, and they get wiped out. The ladies use some knives and bayonets, and the importance of stealth is emphasized here. One dude gets stabbed. Well, I'm not going to say it. It was a good scene. There's a shootout against some bad guys on a stalled boat. Nice destruction. Huge explosion at the end. There's a shootout at a military checkpoint. It was pretty good. Some individual death scenes follow that. Some sweet slow motion spin kicks. The escape from POW camp is decent. So I think sometimes with these action movies, the middle section is a little soft in terms of like big set pieces. And that's one thing that we have here. A lot of little individual moments, some of which are pretty cool. But, it's really the bigger set pieces are like the beginning and the end. Now, the plot synopsis does mention The Dirty Dozen, but some of the scenes in the forest reminded me more of First Blood and Rambo 2. It really did. So I was reminded more of those movies than I was The Dirty Dozen, personally speaking, and that's a good thing, all right? There's an infiltration scene on a bridge, tons of gunfire. This is where Sammo just like steals the show in the scene, and there are some impressive acrobatics and stunts, as well as like a John Rambo-style massacre scene. That's one of the better scenes in the movie. And then the finale is inside this weapons depot thing. Lots of fights and pair-offs between a bunch of different characters. Some good violence. Now, some of these fights in the finale are a little bit shorter than you might want, especially considering the actors who are participating, but still, it's pretty satisfying. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are some big-name actors in this, and like half of them are just the villains, okay? So like Yuen Wah, Yasuaki Kurata, Wei and Billy Chow in particular, they don't really have that much screen time. In fact, we don't even see those guys until like 35 minutes left in the movie. You know, usually I like to see my villains make appearances in each act. You know, they should have just added a scene with these guys killing some dudes at like the beginning or the middle of the movie. I think would have benefited. It adds some anticipation for the finale, right? But we don't get that here, and you know, it's a little bit of a problem, I think, a bit of a criticism that I have. But again, seeing all these guys fight it out at the end is pretty cool. So I think Eastern Condors is a movie that I enjoy, but some of the nitpicks that I have kind of prevent it from becoming one of my all-time favorite action flicks. Now, there are some people out here that think this is one of the best Hong Kong action flicks ever, so I still recommend it actually quite strongly, mostly due to its reputation and the fact that I do quite enjoy it. But it's currently available streaming on YouTube and Amazon. It also got a Blu Ray release from the Criterion Collection. So let me know what you think about this one. Do you think it's like in the upper echelon of like Hong Kong action flicks, or do you think it's just like a solid actioner? And as always, folks, I'll see you next time.